Welcome to another episode of NFC East Beef. We have a good episode for you today. A couple guests, some of the most passionate fans I know for their respective teams. First up, we have my uncle Mark. He is a diehard, Cowboys fan. We also have Jalen, who's a diehard Eagles fan. And we're going to get into some debates. So we are before we went live. We also had some, quick debates. We got to stop it real quick, save it for the podcast. So let's get into it. First up, I want to congratulate Jalen's team real quick, and my team for making the playoffs. It's NFL season is over, so
feels good to be here.
It feels good. It's been a long time since I felt this, and I'll be honest, I've never felt this. But we could talk about my team later. The first thing I want to talk about Philly is your matchup with Green Bay. Jalen, I want to hear how you think you match up with Green Bay. What are your pros and cons going into this game?
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, man, this is a game the Eagles should win. They lose this game if they beat themselves, in my opinion. Like you look at the roster up and down. I mean, there's not really any holes as far as matchups that I feel like maybe Green Bay has us on. I know Green Bay has a good run defense, so I mean, I think if I'm Sirianni, if I'm Kellen Moore, if I'm Vic Fangio, the game plan going in, minimize the big plays on defense, which with Christian Watson being out, I don't think he's going to play based on his injury last week. So that should help us, eliminate the big plays downfield on defense. And then as far as offense, look, man, I mean, like I said, they got a good run defense, but still you got to get Saquon the ball. Get Saquon the ball. They load the box, and then you let AJ and Smitty eat, run some play action RPOs, and then I think we just, as long as we don't turn the ball over, man, it should be, I think this is a dub. That's how I feel. Now, anything could happen, but that's how I feel.
That brings me to the point. Hey, do you know something about playing those Packers in the playoffs?
Yeah, I don't like the Packers.
That don't surprise me.
I mean, last year we lost to the Packers because we just played the worst game of the year at the wrong time. But, Jordan Love, he's been very inconsistent. He's been hurt a lot this year. He was hurt the second half of the last game of the season. I don't think Philly really has much to worry about in regards to winning the game. Green Bay's defense is not overly impressive. So, I mean, besides Josh Jacobs, they really don't have much to hone on. So I think that Philly kind of has a bye for the first week. They just got to go out and practice, basically. But I wouldn't say anything about Green Bay good anyway, because, we still got the catch sitting back in our history. And then last year we just kind of, we look crazy. So
I think it also depends on how healthy Mr. Hurts is going to be.
I'm not worried about it.
In this game, I wouldn't worry about Hurts, even though he's been very inconsistent. But
so I had a theory that Saquon not playing last week had more to do with Hurts not being ready to play, and they wanted to rest all of their starters not to bring attention to Hurts. What do you think about that?
I don't think that theory is like wild, but I don't agree because, you think about it, man. He could have gone for the record, and yeah, that would have been sick. It would have had his name in the history books, yada yada. And granted, if I'm Saquon, I want that for me. I want that for my family. But you don't. I mean, and he said it. You don't sign with the team with the intent to break a record. You sign with the team with the intent to go win a Super Bowl, and to play the starters in ultimately meaningless game. If they're still fighting for seeding, if they still have the chance to get the 1 seed, cool, go out and try and get it. But in a meaningless game to try and play starters, I mean, I think that would have been selfish on Saquon's part, because not only would you have needed to play Saquon, you would have needed to play the starting O-line to make sure that he's got the holes to run through. And so you're not only risking his injury, but you're risking the starting O-line's injury. So, I mean, I don't think that theory is off base that they, sat starters to protect, Jalen Hurts. But at the same time, I think healthy Jalen Hurts or not, it made sense to sit the starters in that game because it was meaningless. We were in the 2 seed regardless. So unless you want to make an argument that, you want the team to, not have any rust going into the playoffs, but I'm not worried about rust. These guys are professionals, been playing for 17, 18 weeks, so we should be good.
Honestly, I don't think Saquon needs rest, to be honest. Like, I think he's good to go.
Yeah, I think the other thing is, if I'm Philly, first of all, I want the all-time leading rusher to be under my team. So I think it was crazy for them to not let Saquon hit that number. I think it was crazy for Saquon not to do it against the Giants, which would have been huge.
I agree with you.
And they played the Giants, so you could have get that done in the first quarter probably, or the second quarter, and he got out. I don't think he had to do anything with Jalen Hurts, but I think that it was selfish of the Eagles to play him and let him hit that record, because it's never going to happen anytime soon again. Especially to Saquon. So you get that one chance to do something that's only been done once, and you tell him no. I just think that's bad, and I think Saquon, that would be, even though the personality Saquon has doesn't look real hardcore. He looks a little soft off the field, but at the same time, I'm sure he would have loved to break the record against the Giants.
Yeah, and I think you could kind of, I don't know if you saw that interview they had with him in the locker room. You could tell he was kind of hurt. He was kind of hurt that they didn't let him go get it.
Of course.
But I'm just thinking, man, you think about it. They go out there, and let's say he gets 80 yards and then tears his ACL, tweaks his ankle, right? Like, that's our ticket.
But I think the all-time record is worth that chance. And again, you're playing.
I was just about to say, Jason Kelsey came out on his podcast with his brother, and he said, in terms of legacy, they will remember Saquon's name more for breaking the 2,000-yard record than winning the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. He'll just like
but you think about it.
He'll stay relevant for 40 years because
think about what you just said, though. They'll remember Saquon's name. This isn't the Philadelphia Saquons. This is the Philadelphia Eagles. We're not worried about just getting Saquon a record, though. We're worried about winning Super Bowls for the organization, for the franchise, for the city of Philadelphia, for all the fans. Fans can't go and be like, hey, I know Saquon got hurt in that meaningless Week 18 game, but you saw he got that record, though. We didn't win the Super Bowl like we could have because we had aspirations. But he got that record, though. Look, like, that doesn't do anything for the fans. I mean, it would be cool to say, but that's a Saquon record. That's not an Eagles. Like,
well, but you're not gonna win a Super Bowl anyway. So
that brings us to the next point.
Is this being
How
recorded?
Far do the Eagles go?
It's being recorded?
Yeah.
How far do the Eagles go? Do they run into the Detroit Lions train and that's it?
Well, who do they play after they play Green Bay?
It depends who wins between us, the Commanders and the Bucks, and the Vikings and the Rams.
Yeah.
So we don't know yet.
In my opinion, I'm not a Super Bowl or bust kind of guy, but I do think this team should get at least to the conference championship. If this team falls short in the divisional round, then it was a waste. If they don't make it to the NFC championship, then I think something went wrong.
Then would you be mad that Saquon didn't go for the record?
No, because the end result doesn't change the thought process going in. You know what I'm saying? Like, it still made sense to sit the starters regardless of what happens in the postseason. If they don't win the Super Bowl, it's not like, oh, they should have played Saquon, because the thought process going in was protect the starters, rest our guys, make sure they're ready for the postseason, and that's important regardless of what happens in the end.
So Jeff, ask that question in reverse. Will Saquon be mad as shit if he don't get a Super Bowl and he didn't get the record either?
Oh yeah, he'll get mad, but he's not going to leave the team.
I didn't say he's going to leave the team.
But he's not Tyreek Hill.
He'd be salty.
So until further notice, is the NFC East, does that belong to the Eagles?
No, it doesn't belong to the Eagles. It doesn't belong to anybody. We all are fans in this division, and we know at any point in time in any year anybody can do anything. We were NFC champions last year. Phillies this year. Y'all haven't been NFC champs in a while, but the point is that the NFC East doesn't belong to anybody for any period of time at all. But just the point that you asked Jalen about Eagles, they're not going to get to the Super Bowl. I think that if they play Tampa, because the Tampa's going to beat y'all. So if they're going to play, if they play Tampa, they'll beat Tampa. If they play Minnesota, they probably won't get to Detroit.
I will say this. I disagree with some of what he said, but also, while I am always thinking about, oh, we got to play the Eagles. We got A.J. Brown, our cornerback suck. We got to face Saquon. Our running defense sucks. You know, I am worried about the weapons that they have. I had the same attitude about the Cowboys last year, and it is true. Every year we have a different leader. It's so rare that we would have a team that could actually win back-to-back. Now, the Eagles could be that team. They have a lot of talent. And for a long time, they got young guns on their defense. They could reign for a couple years. Until I see somebody win the NFC East back-to-back, I will agree with Unc.
But remember what happens every time. You got the NFC East champion in Philadelphia. They go to the second round of the playoffs. They're gonna lose coaches. You're gonna lose players. You're gonna have free agents gone. So that's why there's no possible way they're gonna reign supreme for years, because people are gonna take their talent and their coaches.
I actually agree. I actually agree with that. I think based on history, I mean, when was the last back-to-back division champ? 2004, 2005. Yeah. So I think like history has shown us that.
Who was that?
Eagles.
I think it was the Eagles.
Okay.
I think history has shown us that we have one of the most competitive divisions in the sport. You know, this isn't some AFC East. This isn't some AFC West type vibe. You know what I'm saying? So, I think, and that's what makes it fun as a fan to root for, because it's not like you have that like, oh, we should win the division this year every single year, and if we don't, I'm gonna be pissed. It's like, hey, we know it's gonna be a dogfight going in. We know the Cowboys are gonna, at least be good enough to where people are talking like, oh, could this be the year?
You can't sleep on the Cowboys.
And then now with the Commanders, man, having Jaden Daniels, I think if you got a QB, like, you're gonna be dangerous. And then the Giants, we're not really talking about the Giants right now.
The Giants have a lot.
I think it's a competitive division. I think, and like Mark said, I think, Kellen Moore has already been reached out to by the Saints about the head coaching job there. So we'll probably lose him in the offseason. Fortunately, Vic Fangio, I think, has mentioned he wants to continue being the DC, but it's always tough when you have a good year. Like you said, you're going to lose players who want bigger contracts. You're going to lose coaches who want a bigger opportunity. So it's hard to be back-to-back champs, especially in today's day and age.
And the Giants have said they're going to re-sign their coach and their general manager. So we know that's trash by itself. So
we're good. Now, speaking of contracts, a team that has recently signed their quarterback and their wide receiver, and they have to make some decisions on who they're going to fire and who they're going to re-sign this offseason, are the Dallas Cowboys. My first question is, are they in as much trouble as everybody makes them out to be? Or is this okay? Like, is everything going to be okay in Dallas land?
No, people over-exaggerate where we are with the salary cap. We have salary cap money. We just don't have as much as some other teams. But we have salary cap money. And, I mean, we follow NFL every year during this time. And the key is to sign the player. So Dak got his 60 and CD got his money. And then you go back to them and say, okay, we need you to restructure the money. They're going to get their money. They don't care if it's tomorrow or next year. Dak's money is fully guaranteed. So it's just a restructure to say, hey, we're going to give you $10 million this year, and then we need you to change it out for the next couple of years so that we can sign some other players. So, now I will make this point. We really screwed up in free agency and drafting last year, like really bad. It's the first time.
That was some Dan Snyder type stuff.
It was the first time as a fan I was upset with Jerry Jones, because I don't put too much emphasis on Jerry Jones as everybody else does. But him not signing Derrick Henry, him not getting a running back, him bringing back Ezekiel Elliott,
not even calling Derrick Henry.
Like, all the crap moves we made last year set us back, and the reason why we, besides the injuries that we had all year, was the reason why we had problems. But our cap situation can be adjusted real fast based upon what we need to do. I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah, I think from an Eagles fan standpoint, looking at the Cowboys from the outside, I wouldn't be worried about the team's future from a cap standpoint. Like Mark was saying, I mean, look, you got a GM who knows how to finesse it. You can restructure contracts all day and night. I, however, disagree with the fact that I think Jerry's the issue. I think as long as Jerry's still pulling the strings, I think when
So,
did he take over the team? 1989.
yeah, but
Hey,
so here's the
What
thing.
your
y'all
owner
done
life
since?
is
What
great.
y'all done
That's all I'm gonna
since
say.
that?
But
Y'all had
here's
that
the
Super
thing.
Bowl. What was it 94, 95?
Here's the thing with that. Honestly, I'm being real honest about it.
Please.
We've had the most talent over the years of just about any team. The drafting and the free agency has been amazing over the last 10 or 12 years. The problem has been coaching and injuries. It's really not. That's why I said I'm putting too much emphasis on Jerry Jones, because actually it's not like we're running around here. I mean, I'm not gonna get on Jeff yet, but they constantly got bad talent. They got like one good person over here and then nobody else, right? And then they had bad coaching on top of that. We've
That's
always had good talent. Even Jeff screams that in my ear in our group chat, all the time. It's like, y'all got all this talent. We always have amazing talent. So I don't think that Jerry's the problem from that standpoint. I think that we just don't have the right coaching all around. Like we might, even
Who
though
making the
McCarthy is
coaching
not the
decisions
greatest
though?
coach in the world, then, we have, a great defensive coordinator when we had Quinn, but sorry, Keller, what his name is y'all have?
Kellen
Moore.
Kellen Moore's trash play calling when he was with us. Trash. That's why he went to San Diego and was trash, right? And he's doing okay with you guys, but
He got a lot of talent in Philly.
The last 4 or 5 years, he's been trash play calling.
And
So
listen, I'm not going to disagree with you on the talent standpoint because I will agree. I think in the past, y'all done a good job as far as drafting. A lot of y'all's draft picks have been solid.
And
You know
free
what I'm saying?
agency.
Guys, you're
To some
signing in
extent.
free agency. But I think to your point about, okay, we don't have the coaching, who's making those coaching decisions?
Without a question.
You know what I'm
without a
saying?
question,
So
you
I
gotta hire the
think
right coach. That's what I
I
said. We don't
think
have good coaching.
Jerry's got to at some point. I mean, it's been 3 decades of mediocrity at this point. You know what I'm
But
saying?
remember,
Jerry's got to at some point look in the mirror and be like, hey, am I going to take a step back from some of these personnel decisions? Am I going to take a step back from some of these coaching hires? Am I going to hire somebody who maybe can do a better job than I can and maybe be a little more hands off? I think at a certain point, you're the GM, you're the owner. When do you start to look in the mirror and be like, all right, things ain't going the way that I was hoping? And it's been about 30 years of this.
well, he's already announced that he ain't never getting rid of the GM job until he's dead. So he announced that about a couple days ago. But he hired McCarthy. McCarthy hired the other coaches. So it's not just Jerry.
So I have this along with a lot of other Cowboy friends that I have out here in Texas. Let's put you in charge. You are the GM. You call the shots. There's no Jerry Jones. How do you fix the Cowboys this offseason? Because Michael Parsons talking about winning a Super Bowl next year. What would you do?
I mean, Michael Parsons should say that. I mean, that's what his job is. But I'm getting a new coach. I'm going for either Kingsbury or Ben Johnson, one of the two. We need either a super offensive or a super defensive.
Kingsbury's not going nowhere.
I don't think so. Kingsbury's going somewhere, brother. Like I told you, they come after the ones that win. So
not this year.
Yeah.
But also, let's talk about Mike McCarthy. His first 3 years, they won 12 games. That's great, right?
Brother, let's respect what was there. Anybody who gets a chance to coach the Dallas Cowboys is going to go coach the Dallas Cowboys. That's just a supreme job that people want. But Kingsbury wants to be a head coach again. He wants to be a head coach again, and he would do really well with that. But to your question, I would go get either Ben Johnson or Kingsbury, and I would go draft either a running back or a receiver in the first round because we need both really badly. And then whatever we don't get in that first round, in the second round, get a running back or defensive. Wide receiver, and then finish off all the other pieces that we need. We need some more corners, and then we need a good coach opposite of the Ben Johnson or the Kingsbury. We need a good coach. I'm not a big fan of our current defensive coordinator. I think he's too soft with rushing and putting people on the block. So
yeah, thanks for that, by the way.
what's that?
I said thanks for that, by the way.
Yeah. So that's what I would do is first start with the coach. I think we got the right player personnel. We've been injured.
So you're not looking at
we've been
free
injured
agency.
really bad this year. People don't realize how many injuries we've had all year.
Yeah.
That's why I don't blame McCarthy, and I wouldn't be shocked if we keep him because he's been 12-5 for 3 years while we were healthy, and then this year everybody was injured. But
to be fair, y'all started off 3-6, 3-5.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, but we had injuries from the beginning of the year.
But that injury is also a part of football. Now,
it is.
It's a little different because I've always agreed that Cowboys had talent on their roster. But it seems like injuries are only an excuse when y'all got injuries.
No, injuries are always
when other teams have injuries, they just suck.
You know who got a lot of injuries? The Detroit Lions. They the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Talk to him.
Hey, where the camera go?
Talk to him.
No, but I'm gonna say this. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna say injuries don't matter, right? Like, because you lose your starting quarterback, that's obviously detrimental. Now, I do recall a former Super Bowl team losing their starting quarterback and then still winning the Super Bowl. God, who was that? And what year was that?
Redskins.
I forget who it was. But
Doug Williams, that's who it was.
I mean, Doug Williams, Nick Foles,
and Nick Foles,
came in, did his thing. But
hey, by the way, that's why I don't think Jalen Hurts getting hurt is an excuse for y'all losing that game. I just wanted to put that in there. Go ahead.
And okay, no, it is in the sense that, like, okay, if a quarterback gets hurt and then the next week, like, you can prepare, you can game plan an offense around who we have out there. If a quarterback gets hurt in game in the first quarter, you're like, shit, we haven't game scripted. We haven't planned around a Kenny Pickett led offense. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair.
Yeah, we know Kenny Pickett can do certain things, but we game planned for a week coming into this expecting Jalen to be the guy. He goes down. Now we have to throw Kenny in. We can't still run these RPOs. We still can't run these quarterback counters with Kenny Pickett. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still think, granted, even with Jalen getting hurt and Kenny coming in, they still should have won that game. Devontae Smith doesn't drop that ball in the game. That should have been a dub. You know what I'm saying?
Should have been done.
But what are you going to do? It's a divisional matchup on the road. Commanders aren't a bad team. You know what I'm saying? Jaden Daniels was balling. Like, I got to tip the cap at the end of the day.
Let's take the few minutes we have remaining to shift over to the Bucs versus Commanders playoff game. I'm going to say this. Most of this year, I was really excited because I went into every game with PTSD, thinking like, this is the game we're going to lose. This is when it's going to crumble, because that's what I'm used to. Like, I get my hopes up, and I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. You frozen? You there?
I'm here.
All right. So it's PTSD. I'm like, it's too good to be true. And I went into the Bears game, the first Dallas game, the second Dallas game, even the Titans game. I was like, hey, Titans have, top 10 defense. I don't know. Like, what if it's too good to be true, right? I hope we win, but we have a lot of flaws. Our cornerbacks are detrimental to our team. And that's even with Lattimore with his hamstring, we're losing wide receivers left and right. Is to a point where, Olamide Zaccheaus is, going down there for 80 yards because nobody's game planning for that.
Hey, listen, I think Olamide is solid. And I would have said this last year because he was with the Eagles last year, wide receiver 3, so he wasn't getting much attention. But I always thought he was a dog in the sense that, like, from what he does, he's going to block for you well. He get the ball, he's going to scrap. I see him trying to lower his shoulder and go through dudes, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think as far as, knowing what he can bring to the table, I think, like, there could be worse receiving options than OZ.
And I know it is, your rivals, and you don't want us to do good. And I will say this, unless, something crazy or severe injury happens, there's pretty much nothing that can happen Sunday night that's going to ruin this year for me. This,
No, you
there's,
should
it's
be
just
on
been,
cloud nine.
this is great. I
Yeah.
feel like,
Y'all
it's
didn't
funny,
expect to win
my,
this fast. Y'all didn't expect to win this fast.
no,
Y'all didn't expect
nobody
Jaden
did.
Daniels to be who he is.
Nobody did.
So y'all definitely should be on cloud nine. I think
We're,
that going into the Tampa game, Tampa is finally healthy for the first time in a while, and they're playing pretty good ball. Mike Evans is playing good ball, and they've got their defense is playing really well, and the quarterback is doing really well now. I mean, he's been consistent. So, y'all lost to them in the first game of the season. Now it's going to be your last game of the season, playing them again, and I think they're actually a better team now than they were when they played you in the beginning. So
I think they're worse
because
one,
Mike
they don't
Evans, I
have
don't think was
Godwin.
even there in the first game.
They don't have Godwin. That's a big
But they
thing.
haven't had Godwin for weeks, so they've adjusted.
I'm talking. This is a little different. So if we can take Mikey Sanders, who just won rookie of the week, I'm just gonna put that out there. If we could put Mikey on McMillan, and I'm praying that the hamstring is good for Lattimore to keep up with Mike Evans. He's an animal.
I think Mike gonna eat Lattimore.
Lattimore's played
is that
3/4
run
all
game.
year. Okay.
I'm worried about that run game, that Bucky Irvin. That's what I'm worried about.
Well, but you got Lattimore has played 3/4 for y'all since he got there, and St. Just needs to be praying every game. Like he's the worst, right?
He pisses me off.
Your defensive backs are crazy bad, and your defense misses tackles all the time.
And I will say this.
So your offense. So I went and looked before we got on the show. Y'all have had 5 wins this year in the last 30 seconds. Okay.
Yep.
That has to be transferred to playoff football. It just doesn't work.
It's tough.
It's tough.
You're gonna regress to the mean.
It's definitely, yeah, and that's one of those stats that's like when Jaden Daniels' first 3 games, his completion was like 100 or like
99%.
It was great, but can it last? Now, what I'm going to get to is, aside from that first game against the Bucks, win or lose, or I'm sorry, if we've lost, we've never lost by double digits. For some reason, Jaden keeps us in games. Absolutely. We have a chance in every game. So that's why I'm just like, I'm hoping that we got some more Jaden magic. I'm hoping, the one fault in Tampa Bay is their cornerbacks aren't doing great this year. I'm hoping that we get some magic. But roster-wise, who should win? The Bucks. That's why they're favored. That's why they're favored.
And Todd Bowles is a better coach.
Yeah. I think
yes.
I think personally, I think this game, I don't think it's going to be Bucks by a landslide by any means. Because like you said, Jeff, you got Jaden Daniels, the Jaden magic, but also his rushing ability, man. I mean, play breaks down. He's got the legs to get you the first down. I think that's priceless when it comes to playoff football. So I think, he's going to keep you in the game. I think this could go either way, from my opinion. I think y'all have a shot to win this game. I do think the Bucks are a better team with better coaching. But I do think it come down to the last drive and, Jaden do what he's done all season.
Their biggest worry is that we had the ball in the last 2 minutes. That's their biggest worry.
Of course, that's everybody's biggest worry with y'all. Y'all win in the last 30 seconds.
Yeah.
But,
so that brings me to my next question.
The hard part's going to be Jaden next year, and I don't mean to move up, but
that's exactly what my next
question. That sophomore slump is real.
Yeah, it's real. And
so my next question is Jaden Daniels the biggest threat in the NFC East to the Eagles, to who reigns?
No. I think Jaden Daniels has had an amazing rookie year. I think that he's shown that he is going to be a great quarterback. But Jaden Daniels is like 6'4", 5", and like 100 pounds. So he's gonna, he could easily get hurt. Like the way he runs.
They said that about Lamar.
No,
he's good.
Lamar's gotten hurt. But my point is that I think Jaden coming back next year, people are gonna adjust to him. and you know y'all had a lot of miracle mystery wins, right? So y'all's defense has to get better for you to even.
We've also had some mystery losses. We should not. I mean, throughout the entire game, y'all should have won that first matchup. But when it came down to it, that last Jaden Magic, that scoring touchdown from 90 yards out to Terry McLaurin, and then we missed the extra point because our kicker. That we've had some unlucky times too. I do say that while we're talking about sophomore slumps, keep in mind this is a Jaden Daniels with the least amount of talent that he will ever have.
I don't know about that.
We have the most cap space. Like we got money. I love Adam Peters and what Dan Quinn did in this draft. All of our draft pieces are key. We flipped over 66% of our roster, and not to mention, we only have 2 official Pro Bowlers, but 13 of them are at least on the what is the second when if somebody gets injured. I forgot what that list is called. That's crazy. For the first year.
I'm gonna say this: when it comes to the Pro Bowl popularity contest, we don't worry about it.
I get that. We know that because Michael Parsons won this year. He's going to the Pro Bowl this year, and he shouldn't be. He's great.
I'm not worried about the Pro Bowl.
Nobody.
I will say
I'm
this.
saying talent-wise.
Yeah. I'll say this to answer your question. Is Jaden Daniels the biggest threat to the Eagles and or whoever reigns the NFC East? I would say no, not being a shot to his talent, not being a shot to Commanders, but more so being a point to what we said earlier in the pod of, hey, this is a competitive division. No one's really reigning. So it's not like Jaden Daniels comes in. Now it's like, now it's like the Commanders really going to start running things. It just really kind of makes the Commanders a little more relevant. So I still think it's going to be even more of a dogfight between, Dallas stays healthy. Dallas would have been right in the mix. You know what I'm saying? They would have.
I don't think they would have been right in the mix
like they do, but they would have been in the mix to get to the,
How do you say we wouldn't be in the mix if we had our starting cornerback?
Because Rush did great. Y'all still won games. He did better than that. What do you mean? So he
did not do better than Dak. Stop lying,
Jalen.
Stop lying. Dak.
He didn't do better than that.
You've been a Dak killer, Jeff, since years gone by.
I love that.
Listen,
I've been telling all my Dallas fans they signed that. But
I like that. I like that.
Cooper
Rush.
What has he done? Close to Dak.
Dak, the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. How many playoff wins he got?
He got 2.
Listen,
I don't hear you.
Hey, that don't matter, Jalen, because guess what?
Listen, you can ask all my Dallas friends. I tell them y'all should have signed Dak because there was no better option.
How many Super Bowls did Jalen have?
Jalen Hurts? How many Super Bowls?
Yeah.
0.
None. How many Super Bowls has Dak played in?
It doesn't matter.
It don't matter. You don't think?
My point is, it's all about winning, right?
It's all about winning. It is all about winning, and Dak don't do it when it gets to the postseason.
All I'm saying,
you know who did get to the Super Bowl and had one of the best Super Bowl performances from a quarterback? Jalen Hurts. So I know my guy's going to perform when he gets to the postseason. Jury's still out on Dak. That's all I'm going to say. I do think, listen, and I don't hate Dak. I'm not a Dak hater. I do think
that.
Cowboys should have signed him. Yeah. It was tough that he had to get paid what he did.
You can't do what Jeff did and say Cooper Rush was better than Dak.
No. Wait, hold on. Let me clarify. Cooper Rush played better this year than Dak did this year. That's what I meant.
Statistically, that's not true.
That's true. There's no
statistically, it's not true, bro.
Statistically, it is true. You just said wins are all that matter. Who won more games? Dak won 3. What do you mean? You just said that.
But Dak only played 6.
Huh?
He only played 6 games.
I think Cooper Rush won his first 6. But what are we talking about here? So hold on. My point is this. I'm not blaming the downfall just this year, of the Cowboys on Dak getting hurt. No, I'm not. Because, one, they were trending to a losing season to start with. I think that's all in. They were.
I got to look. I don't even know. Look.
What are you talking about? 3. You just made this up out of your head.
Look at the stat. Look, what was Dak's record when they went out?
Trending towards a losing season?
What was Dak's record when they went out? Tell me if I'm wrong.
Seasons change all year, first and second half.
Listen,
the Rams,
Joe Burrow just had one of the best comebacks. comebacks of all time, and they still didn't make the playoffs.
Jeff, the Rams were trash in the first half of the season, and they're in the playoffs because they had a good second half.
The Rams have more offensive talent than y'all do.
No, but just because I'm saying just because a team started bad doesn't mean they end bad.
That's true.
If he stayed healthy, we don't know what could have happened.
There's a point. Like the Bengals started off really bad, but they ended off really good. And they still didn't make the playoffs.
Because they got the talent back.
What talent back?
They had defensive players all over the field, not on the floor.
They're losing games because of their defense.
They were right because they didn't have all the defensive players.
Joe Burrow scored 5 touchdowns and they still lost. Oh, was that golf? Let me correct that. I think that's golf. I think that's golf.
My point is the Bengals defense was horrible in the first half of the season. Horrible.
All I'm saying is I like that.
Playing that great.
This year just wasn't the year. That's okay.
It is.
Now it's not like you're Washington and the next 30 years are going to be trapped. Hold on. Hold on. It's not like you have it's not like you have Washington history where you don't know who your next quarterback is going to be. You don't know, we had no hope. We were cheering for Taylor Heineke. There's a level to this. Your panic mode is not there yet. That was good. It was just
we're not gonna ever get there.
That's cool.
We're never gonna get there. But
and I think relative to this conversation, as of right now, Jaden Daniels is the biggest threat to the Eagles in the NFC East going into next year. He has to be. Who is?
I don't think there's, as Jalen said, there's not one person, a quarterback, or that's the biggest threat to the NFC East because it keeps changing. So Jalen Daniels and Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, 3 black quarterbacks, are as threatening to each other as any other person. Like there's no Jalen Hurts is no more of a threat than Dak, is no more a threat than Jaden at this point. Jaden has the least downside going into next year because it's his second year and people adjust. Jalen Hurts hasn't played well in the last 2 years like he did back in the Super Bowl. When he played the Super Bowl year, he was playing phenomenal. These last 2 years, the number of interceptions he's had, the number of fumbles he's had.
He got 5 interceptions this year.
No, he's got more than that.
He got 5 interceptions this year.
Well, last year he had an atrocious amount of interceptions.
Last year he was turning the ball over. This year after the bye, he has I think maybe 3 turnovers.
I don't like that. I'm just saying because there are years that quarterbacks have bad interceptions and
that's stronger. And with Washington, again, as I said earlier, you're going to lose players, you're going to lose coaches, and if you lose Kingsbury with Jaden, you better get a good damn quarterback whisperer. Otherwise, he's going to fall back.
So Kingsbury said today that it would take something crazy for him to leave Jaden, and it's possible. I think that there's only
crazy? The Cowboys head coach position. That's crazy.
You have less money, and I don't think Jerry Jones is the best fit for him. I don't. Hold on.
Oh, go ahead, Jeff. Go ahead. I'll let you.
So I think there are some jobs that he would leave. If I was Cliff Kingsbury and the Bengals fire their head coach, I'm going to Cincy. So there are some situations where he could leave. I just think it's going to take one of those top-notch jobs. And frankly, right now, if this was last year and y'all followed Mark McCarthy, I think y'all could have got Cliff. But I think right now he's actually building something with JD, and he sees something that they can actually build. And I already know Unk's answer to this. Are y'all thinking that this is a fluke year for Washington?
I think it's a surprise year for Washington. I wouldn't say a fluke.
I wouldn't say a
surprise year. Even y'all are surprised. So I think it's a surprise year.
It's a surprise
for Washington.
year for everybody. Yeah.
I think Jaden is the difference, and I think that going into next year, like I said, you're not going to be the same team. People are going to know some of the nuances. If Kingsbury stays, they know his offense, and it's not going to be. And the miracle magic of Jaden Daniels just statistically can't last, right? So.
Well, here's where I disagree.
He's going to have to win harder games, and
that's very true.
In his face.
I think
that's very true.
No, I wouldn't say it's a fluke because I think Jaden Daniels is a good quarterback. I think he will be a good quarterback in the league, but I would also agree with Mark. It's more of a surprise. Like you said, you didn't even expect to be here. Nobody expected the Commanders to win this early with this roster. But what's important in this league is not just having one good year where you make it as a what seed are y'all, 6? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it's all about longevity and how long can you be good. Now, let's see if next year y'all continue to make it to the playoffs, are fighting for that division championship, maybe even trying to get, 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed. That's when I'll be like, okay, the Commanders are for real. But one season, let's see.
I think I agree that it's a surprise year. I don't think it's a fluke year. I agree. I think it's a surprise year. Nobody expected us to be here. I think the part that I disagree with is we are underestimating our off-season ability. Now, maybe I'm putting too much stock into what we did this past off-season, but I think this off-season we have more money. And I think, like, what if we go out and we get a T. Higgins, or we get a Garrett Wilson who expressed that he wants to be out of Tampa Bay, not Tampa Bay, New York, right? We're not thinking about what we're going to do in free agency, and Jaden Daniels is doing nothing. He's doing everything with Terry, who's good, and Brian Robinson and Zach Ertz.
So I'm gonna say that's some what ifs. That's assuming y'all go out and y'all crush it in the draft, and then y'all crush it in free agency, and then y'all crush it in re-signing guys who need to stay on the team.
Well, we're going to
get all that. We then have to see if those pieces mesh together, and then equates to games being won. You know what I'm saying?
Very
so
true.
It's like domino 1 has to fall, and then dominoes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 have to fall,
Very
and
true.
then once we look at the season after the fact, to be like, okay, they made the moves, and then the moves paid off. But at this point,
I'm not expecting us to win 12 games every year. That's not what I'm saying. I'm thinking
you should,
like you said,
it's going to be that much of a difference. 12
well,
games.
what I'm saying to agree with Jalen is, I think we're going to be relevant, like he said earlier, relevant for a longer period of time. We're not going to be this 4-win team unless something catastrophic happens.
I agree.
I think kind of leading up to this year, it's kind of been like, all right, Eagles, Cowboys, who's it going to be?
Eagles, Cowboys.
But now it's like, okay, the Commanders are relevant. Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders. Are the Commanders going to be in that talk, in that mix? And I think they will. I think Jaden Daniels is that good that they'll be in the mix. But Cowboys and Eagles still they still there. You know what I'm saying?
Still there.
Yeah.
So
they ain't going
I
nowhere.
got a question for y'all too, if I may, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So what do you think your biggest free agent move is for your team? I'll go last.
This past year or coming up?
Coming up.
I got mine. I think Zach Bond, linebacker who signed from the Saints. I think he's on a 1-year deal right now, and he was playing lights out, made the Pro Bowl. I think he is second team All-Pro, maybe first team All-Pro. I have to check that. But they cannot let him leave the building. The Eagles haven't had a solid linebacker in seems like forever, maybe D'Amico Ryan days. So I think if I'm Howie Roseman, I'm not letting Zach Bond leave the building this offseason. Pay that man whatever, give him a blank check. I don't care.
Yeah. I think we already. I second. Zach Bond is nasty. Every time we play him, we're like, oh, where's Zach Bond on the field? He's nasty. We have a lot that we got to fix. And it's partially because like you said, nobody expected us to win 12 games. I think we have to get depth at cornerback. That's
the who. I mean, in the league, that's a free agent. Who do you think?
I don't even know. I don't know.
So I don't know cornerbacks like that. So I have to do some research on that. But if we're talking about players specifically that I know, one, I'm re-signing. It sounds like a bad move because he's old. I'm re-signing Wagner. I'm re-signing Wagner.
Wagner. I don't know if he's coming back.
He may not want to come
back. He's giving you
he's having a great year.
Air he has this year, man.
He's having a great year. He's happy.
He's having a great year.
He's happy. He's
He gonna
he has a
break
brotherhood
down,
with. But the reason I'm re-signing him is because he's leading that defense. Him and Lugu together are causing wreckage.
There's no GM that's gonna give Bobby Wagner a lot of money because he's one twisted ankle away from.
And that's what I want. That's what I want. Now, what I think will happen is signing a T. Higgins or.
I think if y'all go out and get T. Higgins, then hey, that would be a good first start to that first domino falling, in my opinion.
Or no, I'll say Chris Godwin.
So mine for Dallas is we're gonna either sign Tyreek Hill or we're gonna sign T. Higgins because we're gonna get a star receiver to go.
Yeah, either of those. I think
we're gonna get one of those two players, and that'll change the whole.
Tyreek Hill seems like a Dallas move, honestly.
It does. It does. As an Eagles fan, I would hate to see Tyreek Hill in a Dallas Cowboy jersey.
And with CeeDee Lamb on the other side.
Yeah, I mean that'd be a tough matchup. Quinyon locking that shit down, but that's a tough matchup for sure.
That's nasty.
I think.
But hey, y'all, I gotta jump.
Yeah, I understand, bro.
Jeff having me on here.
Man.
Look forward to doing it again, Mark. Glad to talk shop with you. Hopefully, we get to do this again sometime. Y'all be easy.
All right,
peace, man. I think that while Tyreek Hill, which all would be scary because you can't really, unless you have two lockdown corners, which most teams don't have, even one. Eventually, I get a team morale vibe that's not going to work. Eventually,
I don't agree because I've seen it in Miami. Tyreek Hill actually is not a cancer in the locker room. He's a team player. So I think getting him away from Miami and that life into Dallas, I think would be good. And I think that the last time that Dak had two receivers, when we had
Amari
Cooper,
y'all should have won.
There was lights out, right? So if you got a Tyreek Hill who's going to catch anything you throw, you got CeeDee Lamb who's going to catch everything you throw, and then you put a Schooner in or someone like one of those tight ends in there, it becomes just hard to play against. So.
Well, no, but one, you don't have to worry about your tight ends. Y'all can, for some reason, y'all choose
got three tight ends.
Yeah, any tight end y'all put in there does great. I'm not worried about your tight ends. Yeah. I think that it would be very similar to that Amari Cooper situation. For some reason, I feel like he's going to get angry with Dak. He's not a cancer. That's not what I'm thinking. I'm thinking the personalities won't mix. And I could be wrong. Maybe I'm saying that because, I don't want to face him twice a year.
I know him and Diggs are real close. So you put Diggs in the locker room with him and CD, who are all flashy, young, same age. That you're looking like Michael Irvin and Emmett and those guys.
Tyreek Hill older.
Huh?
Tyreek Hill is older than Diggs, ain't he?
You said what?
Tyreek Hill is older than Diggs, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, but I'm saying they still in the same age group, regards to I'll put it this way. They still go out the same. Like they're still flashy.
That don't say a lot.
Yeah, I've seen Tyreek out and he's flashy. So and Diggs comes to Miami a lot. So.
I agree. If y'all get Tyreek Hill or a Tegan, that separate receiver, and y'all go and draft Ashton Genty
or Ashton Genty or somebody. I love Ashton Genty. He's so small that it's scary. Mm-hmm. I just discovered Scatterboo. To me, that's Christian McCaffrey all over again. So I'm not drafting Scatterboo in the first round, but Scatterboo,
he's not as fast.
You put him on a team, that's Christian McCaffrey.
I want Scatterboo. Scatterboo.
Yeah, I didn't even know about him until last week when I watched the game.
No, I've heard some things about him and I've watched some tape on him. I think that
I'll take Scatterboo over Genty.
You know what? One veteran free. I don't know if he's going to be a free agent next year or not, but I think he wants out. 1 year deal that you might want to look into.
Who's that?
Trent Williams.
Yeah, but Trent Williams is old, man.
He's still a dog. He
is.
A nice left tackle. If you got Trent Williams.
No, we got Guyton. He's coming along. You got to work with him.
He's been the most penalized tackle in all of
and most of them were holds in his beginning of the season.
Guess who don't hold?
As a rookie, he was holding everybody. So I think through the year, he'll get better. he's going to be a good left tackle. I don't think we really need a left tackle. I think we're good there.
So to close out really quick, we've had a great debate here tonight. I want to give you kind of gave it a little bit earlier, but I want to get your predictions on playoff weekend. Not only why you think the Eagles and Commanders are going to win, but what the score will be and are going to lose. Excuse me. Why you think they're going to lose? And where do you see the NFC East as a whole next year? Not just this team's going to suck, but like, are we going to be the best conference or division in football? Are we just going to have another suck year? What do you think?
Yeah. So in playoffs, I think Tampa does beat Washington. I think they beat them pretty handily, actually. I don't think it's not going to be that close. So I think it probably beat them by like 10 points or so.
Okay.
Philly, funny enough, I think it'll be a closer game because Green Bay can score. But I think Philly still beats them probably by maybe 5 or 6 points. And it's probably a higher scoring game as well because I think they'll both be out there shooting. So those two games, I think Minnesota will beat LA. They play LA, right?
Minnesota plays LA, yeah.
Yeah. I think Minnesota's a sleeper, honestly. I think Minnesota.
I'm the opposite. I don't have a lot of faith in them.
Yeah, I think they're the sleeper. So I think that's what happened in this weekend. On the AFC side, I think Pittsburgh, Baltimore, man, that's going to be a scruff.
Yeah.
So, but my backup team is Baltimore after Cowboys, AFC. I'm here in Maryland. I think Pittsburgh going to beat Baltimore, unfortunately. But I hope Baltimore wins. But I think Pittsburgh's actually something tells you. And then the Bills play
Broncos.
Yeah, they'll beat the Broncos. And who's the other game?
Texans and who is it? Texans and somebody. Who is it? Chargers.
They're playing at Houston?
Yeah, division winners.
Yeah, Texans has been so up and down lately, but I give it to the Texans because I just love the quarterback.
Really?
I give it. I mean, San Diego can score their butt off, but if they're at home, I give it to C.J. Stroud. I think he'll play a good game, and he's been around.
And who you got winning the whole thing?
Whole thing, Detroit.
That'll be crazy. Detroit's gonna go crazy.
They're that bad of a team. I think they're really good. I think they got the dog in them. They got the Mamba in them. They're gonna fight through it. The only other, the Super Bowl would be Detroit versus Buffalo, and
that'd be a really good game.
And I think that Detroit will beat that game. Okay. But to your last question about the division next year, I think as kind of Jalen said, it's just going to be a toss-up. I think all three teams are going to be good. I think that we probably will have two people in the playoffs again. It could be three, like the NFC North right now.
Could be.
But NFC North is strong. So.
And we all got a tough schedule next year. We got the AFC West and we have the NFC North.
Yeah, we play Detroit and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be tough sledding.
So you're not gonna have any runaway winner. It's gonna go down to the last game. Next to the last game, who's gonna be NFC champ and who's gonna make the playoffs? Same thing like this year. And we're gonna have 2, maybe 3 in there.
I guarantee you, they're gonna put us on Thanksgiving next year. I guarantee you.
Well, they do it on a rotation. So
we play every other year.
We played last year, didn't we?
This past year?
No, the year before last. We played last year.
Yeah, we play every other year.
I don't think. No, it's been like every 3 years.
Okay,
so I don't think we'll play. I don't think we'll play, but we might play like the first game of the season.
Right? Yeah, that'll be fun.
It might be something like that.
All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for
your predictions.
Oh, my predictions. You know what? No, I'm going to do this. I have faith in my team. I think we are going to win by 3. I think we're going to win 31-28. And
in the last second.
Yeah, I think that's going to happen. And I think next round we'll probably get Detroit, and that's probably where things end. That's where the Cinderella story ends. But I would love to see Bills or Ravens in the Super Bowl. And then from this side, I'd like to see Detroit. I really, besides our team, if I had to root for anybody in the NFC, I'd go Detroit, because I love the fact that a team that hasn't won in a long time, i.e. Commanders, right? Seeing how fast fans can change and people can believe, and people can be happy for that team. So I envy that, and I hope that's us one day. So yeah, I hope for them. As for next year, as history states, it's not going to be the Eagles again unless they change. So it's anybody's ball game. I'm just happy that we are no longer, as of right now, we are no longer at the bottom of the division. And when it comes to respect, when it comes to what people are expecting from us. So yeah, that's my predictions.
Yeah, not just bottom of the division, bottom of the league. but
True. I mean, that is the fact. We were second pick last year.
Yeah. And that's why I think it's gonna be hard for y'all to have a great draft, because you're gonna be like the 29th pick. You know what I mean? But we'll see.
I'm going to trust Adam Peters. He's done a lot. But that's tomorrow's problem. Or that's.
I'm just glad the season's over, because it exhausted me. So
hey, this has been the best season I've ever witnessed.
This is an exhaustion. I'm glad it's over. I'm watching basketball.
Oh no, I'm not really a basketball fiend no more. But I just want to, I want to say to our subscribers, thank y'all for coming in, watching the video. I do have a big surprise for y'all coming tomorrow. We have an amazing guest come tomorrow. I'm not going to spoil anything yet. Yeah. Oh, another amazing guest. Another amazing guest. I had some great, we had some great guests today. But definitely tune in tomorrow for my one-on-one interview with somebody, close to the Commanders organization. That's all I'm gonna say. But I appreciate y'all coming through. If you are a fan of the NFC East, leave a comment, subscribe. Let's argue. Let's get into some arguments. Let's talk about it. All right. I appreciate
you need to get Scooter on here.
I gotta get up there. There are a lot of people who do the Scooter, janky.
Yeah, but you need to reach out to him. I bet you'll come on.
A lot of people. I want to get Laura Brunson on here. There are a lot of people who do this, who did it before me, and I definitely watch your videos. So yeah, that'd be great. But I appreciate you. Don't go anywhere real quick. But I appreciate y'all coming through, and I'll see you on the next episode.